Hello students, welcome to today's session on comparative statements. So students, in the previous video, we have talked about a lot about the financial statements. Now, what happens is that, as I told you earlier also, in my earlier videos also, that these financial statements are prepared for the purpose of various internal as well as external stakeholders of the company to take decisions on. But how these decisions are taken, so for these decision making, these financial statements are prepared. Number one, as we've been doing talking about earlier, then they are analyzed and then interpreted. Right. So for the purpose of analysis and interpretation, we have two methods. In this video, I will be talking about the comparative statements. Now let's take a question and understand. Okay, so students, I have taken this question. This says this company, Nursing Home Company Limited, prepare a comparative income statement for the year 2011 and 12. All right, and these are the figures. As you can see, this is the statement of profit and loss which is given, and we need to compare this. Okay, so let us start doing the comparison part. Okay, so the format for comparative analysis goes like this. We have particulars, then now in this first column, we post the data for the previous year. Okay. So data for previous year comes here. That is, year is 2011. Then 2012. Then we write the absolute increase or decrease in the values. And then in the last column, we write percentage increase or decrease. All right. Okay. Now, then how do I find this percentage increase or decrease? So there is a formula for this. The formula goes like this, that is absolute change or absolute increase or decrease. Either way we can write upon the previous year. That is upon previous year information multiplied by 100. This is how we find the percentage increase or decrease, or I can simply write the absolute change, okay, and then percentage change, just to save some space. That's all. Okay. Now the another thing, that is how do we find out this absolute change? So for formula for absolute change is, that is current year information minus previous year information. Okay, now let us start working on this. The first thing that we have, another thing now when we do this comparative analysis, students, this is for to be noted that we make the comparison headwise from and between both the years, right? Therefore, this is also known as horizontal analysis. Okay. So now let's start. So we have gross sales. First thing is gross sales. Amount is for 2011, it is 7,25,000. And for 2012, this is 8,15,000. Okay. Okay. Then we have what? Then we have returns. So these returns need to be subtracted. So we do the same here. That is returns. And the amount to be subtracted here is 25,000. Amount to be subtracted in current year is 15,000. I'm just posting the data right now. And then after that, we can go in for doing the, or rather we can do the absolute change also. That is not an issue. So absolute change in this case will be current year minus previous year. That is 8,15,000 minus 7,25,000. And this amount comes to how much? 90,000. So this is 90,000 here, right? And now when I do this, again, I will find the absolute change here also. That is 15,000. And then in the earlier one, we have in the previous year, it was 25,000 return. So there is in the current year, 10,000 less return has been generated, has been seen, right? So this is 10,000. Now, if we do the find out the percentage change. So percentage change is absolute change divided by the previous year data multiplied by 100. So if we do this calculation for the first head, we get this as 12.41. Okay. And if I look upon the day, so 10,000 upon 25,000 into 100, that makes it 40. This is how we have done. Now, then we have net sales. Net sales are how much? This is 7 lakh and this is 8 lakh. Right? And how much is the absolute change? This is 1 lakh. Now, please make it a note again, as I'm saying that we are not going to minus it. If we do the subtraction here, 90,000 minus 10,000, this should come only 80,000. But we do not do the calculation like this. We do make the calculation like this. That is why this is horizontal analysis. Now, 1 lakh multiplied divided by 7 lakh multiplied by 100. This comes to how much? 14.28. Okay. Now, then we have what? Cost of goods sold. Now, 5,95,000, 6,15,000. Okay. How much is the absolute change? As you can see, absolute change is 20,000. Okay. Now, another thing that is to be understood here is what that is now in this case, this cost of goods sold, because we have to calculate net profit. So cost of goods sold, see, as you can see, it is deducted, right? So here, of course, we are going to write this minus cost of goods sold. That means this amount has to be deducted from the net sales. Okay. So we write it like this also. Anyway, but here what is the difference? The difference is of 20,000. Since this will be minus, that is why. Now change. Sorry, the percentage change. 20,000 upon 5,95,000. Okay. And how much do I get here? This is 3.36%. Then I get what? Gross profit. Okay. So we have arrived to gross profit, and gross profit for current previous year was 1,05,000, and for current year is 1,85,000. And the absolute change is that is registered is 80,000, and the percentage change is 80,000 divided by 1,05,000, which comes to 76.19. Now, then we talk about the other expenses. As I told you earlier, how do we that in order to earn the get the profit, we need to subtract expenses from the revenue, and the revenue here is gross sales. Okay, gross sales or net sales rather. Gross sales minus return, that is net sales. This is my revenue. Okay. Then we have what? Other expenses. Other expenses are selling and distribution expenses, administrative expenses. And administration expenses. Okay. So since these also need to be subtracted, okay. So again, instead I will write here only, these also needs to be subtracted. Okay. So selling and administrative expenses, 23,000. Then administration expenses, 12,700. For the current year, this is 24,000, and then 12,500. Now let's find the absolute change here. Okay. So for this selling and distribution expenses, the absolute change is how much? 1,000. Okay. And chalo. This is 1,000 because this has to be subtracted. Therefore, I am putting it in the bracket. And the percentage change, that is 1,000 upon 23,000. This comes to 4.34. Now talking about coming to this side. This is how much? 12,700, and this year 12,500. That means the administrative expenses have reduced, right? By 200. Okay. So this 200 will be subtracted here. And how much is the percentage change? Percentage change is, that is 1.57%. It's very meager, but fine. There is something. Okay. Now we come to the next thing, that is total expenses. 35,700 and 36,500. The absolute change registered here is how much? That is 800 rupees. Okay. This is 800, and percentage change is 2.24. Okay. These are the total expenses. Okay. Now what? Now if we subtract net sales from the total expense, what do we get? Operating income. Operating income is how much? 69,300. So how much is absolute change? Okay. So absolute change registered here in is 79,200, and percentage change 79,200 divided by 69,300. So it is 114.28. Okay. And then what do we have? Other income. Other income is 1200, 8050. The absolute change is how much? 6850. And the percentage change, as you can see, is again, it is more than 100%, right? That is 570.83. Now, then we have non-operating expenses. One seven five zero. Acha, sorry. In between, okay, one more moment. Okay, now this has to be added first and then we move. Okay, now if we add all this, what do we get? How much do we get here? 69,300 plus 1,200. Added together, we get 70,500. And here we get 1,56,500. 1,56,550. Okay. Now, again, for this also, we need to find out absolute change and percentage change. So absolute change here will be how much? This is 86,050. And percentage change is how much? Percentage change is 122.05. 122.05. Now, let's fill this 1750 and 1940. Okay. Again, the same process. Absolute change is 190 and percentage change is how much? This is 10.85. Okay. Now the last leg, net profit. 68,750. And then 1,54,610. 1,54,710. Okay. Sorry, 610. My mistake. 610. Absolute change is how much? Absolute change is 85,860. 85,860. And percentage change is 124.88. 88. Okay. Now, so now, as I said, this was the analysis part. Now comes the last leg, that is its interpretation. So what interpretation should be written here? Okay. So the interpretation that comes out is the net profit of the company. Yes, it is increased, no doubt. Simultaneously, the company has tried to reduce its cost to improve its profit margin. So profitability of the company has improved over the year. So With this, I would say this is all for today's session, students. I hope you all understood this topic. Keep practicing, and I'll see you the next time. Thank you.